In this lesson, we'll take a look at a connection between sex, aging, and death. As organisms evolved by natural selection, the environment became more complex and dangerous as a result of the presence of life itself. In other words, predators, parasites, and competition, leading to diminishing nutrients, all posed challenges to early single-celled organisms. Some cells found it advantageous to unite to form multicellular colonies. Larger size was a good defense against predation, but it posed a problem. If a cluster of cells gets too large, nutrients cannot reach the inner cells by diffusion alone. This fact was a selection pressure in the evolution of cell specialization. With circulatory and respiratory systems, animals could evolve larger sizes. At this stage in evolution, primitive bodies had evolved. A body is a collection of specialized cells which cooperate to perform different life-sustaining functions. By doing so, they improve their own chances of survival because their fate is intimately linked to the fate of the entire organism. There is a puzzle lurking in this story. A single cell of a multicellular organism has a limited lifespan. So why should a cell bother to contribute to the good of the whole if it is going to die? The answer is because each cell of the body is related. They all descended from the same original cell, the fertilized egg. They all have the same genes. Those cells in the reproductive organs will go through meiosis and produce sex cells. And it is their function to pass on new combinations of genes into the future. The other specialized body cells are making the ultimate sacrifice, death, to make sure that one half of their genes are preserved in the future, carried by the sex cells. Thus, a body can be thought of as a disposable vehicle for the delivery of genes into the next generation offspring. The stress and strain of daily life takes a toll on the tissues of the body. Damage can accumulate not only in the proteins within the cell, but also in the DNA recipes for those proteins. Some proteins have the special job of repairing this damage. If the repair mechanisms slow down or stop, the result is what we call aging. Aging is associated with a decrease in function as time progresses. In other words, body tissues and organs work less well with time. In humans, just about every major organ system degrades. For example, the heart pumps less well, the blood vessels lose flexibility, the muscles are weaker, the bones more brittle, vision and hearing are impaired, and sex cell production stops in women and declines in men. Aging causes an increase in mortality with time, that is, an increase in the death rate. This means that the probability of dying goes up with increased age. Curiously, not all species age at the same rate. This raises an interesting evolutionary question. Why hasn't natural selection favored the trait of longevity in all species? Couldn't individuals leave more offspring if they lived longer? The solution to the puzzle has to do with a trade-off between two important life functions. As we have learned, those individuals that produce the most successful offspring will have the most influence on the traits in the next generation. This is natural selection at work. But producing many successful offspring can happen in two ways. In the rapid reproduction, rapid aging strategy, individuals invest energy and resources into maximizing the number of offspring they can produce early in their lives. But because the energy to reproduce cannot be used for tissue repair, these individuals will age at a rapid rate. The gamble in this strategy is that high enough reproductive rates early in life can make up for a short lifespan. This would be adaptive in dangerous environments. The investment in early and rapid reproduction makes evolutionary sense if predators, competition, disease are significant selection pressures, and so a long life is unlikely. We can think of such a life strategy as an adaptation that has evolved in certain species. But there is another way to leave many successful offspring. The slow reproduction, slow aging strategy. In this approach, more energy is invested in body repair systems at the expense of reproductive systems. While body cells can enjoy a longer lifespan, fewer offspring are produced in each reproductive season. Species using this strategy sometimes invest great care and resources into their offspring. The slow reproduction, slow aging strategy pays off in relatively safe environments. Individuals produce fewer offspring at one time, but are likely to have a long reproductive life. We can think of this strategy as putting the emphasis on quality and not quantity of offspring. The slow reproduction, slow aging strategy is also associated with species that have evolved very effective adaptations to their environments. After all, good adaptations help make the environment safe. In summary, there is a cost-benefit analysis at play when thinking about the evolution of reproductive and repair systems. Species can evolve different rates of aging, and these differences are related to their reproductive strategies. Natural selection will favor whatever balance is most effective in maximizing offspring in a particular environment. And profoundly, the evolution of multicellular organisms that reproduced sexually allowed for body cells and sex cells to have different destinies. Body cells could age and die so long as the organism ensured the success of its sex cells. And so it is that sex, aging, and death have an interconnected history in the evolution of life on Earth.